Hugh Laurie, The Biography, written by Anthony Bunko. Prologue. This is the sort of strong American actor I'm looking for. Hugh Laurie looked tired, more tired than usual as he shuffled in his seat. Outside, the sun had already descended, but it was still stifling hot as the late African evening closed in. The English actor had just returned to his hotel room after a full day's shooting of the remake of the 1965 movie Flight of the Phoenix, and he was exhausted. He hadn't even had time for a change of clothing. Along with the rest of the cast and crew, Hugh had been filming in the Namib Desert for nearly 4 months, and it was starting to take its toll on all of them. It had been a tough shoot so far, especially for the crew, because everything, including camera equipment and the giant set of lights, disappeared in the shifting sands most nights. Every camera setup was brutal for them in the heat, Hugh later said. I'm still pulling sand out of my trouser cuffs and parts of my body that I will never get rid of. I still get a little nervous when I see an egg timer, but to be honest, we were never further than 1 hour away from a cold beer. It was just before Christmas 2003. Hugh sat in his dusty, dirty clothes with his 3-day-old stubble in the bathroom of the Swakopmund Hotel in Namibia in southwest Africa, possibly not the best place or the best look for what turned out to be the most important audition of the 37-year-old's life. Or maybe it was just what was required. Perhaps it was all part of the master plan. It was the time of year known in the acting profession as pilot season, when actors the world over receive scripts of possible new pilot shows from their agents. Hugh said, "At that time, quite a few actors on the film were being sent things and were making tapes and sending them in because they wanted to keep themselves in the swim. So it was almost a daily occurrence that someone would say, 'Oh, I just got a script. What do you think of it?' Tonight, it was Hugh's turn to face the handheld camera. To be truthful, the actor who made his name playing half-witted, goofy, middle-class English characters for most of his career had been so worried about finding scorpions in his shoes every morning that he'd almost forgotten about the pilot script he'd received. Jacob Vargas, Hugh's co-star from the movie, held a small camera in his hand. Unfortunately, the shaving mirror in the hotel bathroom was the best light they could find. They were in a poor part of the world, and basic facilities like electricity weren't exactly plentiful. Behind Jacob, out of shot, another actor from the Phoenix film, Scott Michael Campbell, not only offered moral support, but also volunteered to co-read with Laurie. In his hands, Hugh held 3 pages of the script that had been faxed to him on the only fax machine in a 100-mile radius. He wasn't quite sure about the storyline or the role he was auditioning for in the pilot of yet another new American drama, a pilot show which hadn't even been named up to this point. At the time, I was thinking, it's a pilot, that's all, maybe 10 or 12 days' work, he said. I didn't assume it would go any further than that. Most times they don't. Yet Laurie could tell from just a quick read of the dialogue that it was different. It was good material, and the character sounded very interesting. Although an interesting character, Hugh didn't think for 1 minute that the role he was auditioning for was actually going to be the central figure of the proposed show. It's tradition on American television that the central figure is usually the morally good person, which, in Hollywood, often means being good-looking with a 44-inch chest and a chiseled jawline to die for. The scenes I got described House and Wilson, and I...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?